and they put 100 million naira before you today, you will think twice before you take it. It was a free for all.
It's not to say that you will not still take it.
It is a free. It used to be a free for all. In fact, even at the level of rhetoric, they didn't condemn corruption. We had a president who said he didn't believe that there was corruption in the country, that stealing was no corruption.
No, you know, some people have said that statement time and time again, and perhaps, you know, they have interpreted it to suit what it was that they meant. But a lot of people are saying that what he meant was that some things are just plain stealing, not that, you know, stealing was not corruption.
Unfortunately, the facts are bearing us out now. All of these things that are coming back, government agencies now, they are moving into recover the property in Abuja now. We had to pay the rents to accommodate some government ministries now, because people had stolen money and bought mansions. Now these mansions are being gotten back.
It doesn't remove the fact. You talk, when I told you about, you know, feeling the pulse of Nigerians to know how it is they're feeling. You talked about false publications and spreading untruths, but.
Well, you just had a lawyer now who just sat down there.
The recession, the economic recession that the country is currently going through,
they laid the foundation.
It's a reality.
They laid the foundation for it.
But it is a reality. What it means is that a number of Nigerians are actually going through some economic hardship.
This was bound to have come. Whether APC had come or PDP had continued, this crash would have come. Because they were building up to it.
Is that what the APC truly believes?
Absolutely. I mean, the facts bear us out. It's all there.
Yeah, there was nothing.
It was just a make-believe. They are pulling wools over our eyes. And we couldn't see the real thing. By the time they handed over government documents 48 hours to the swearing-in of president.
But they
so that nobody would have the chance.
They handed it over anyway, and nobody, you know, could see that the president was going to take another 6 months before he will hand over to ministers.
Nobody could have seen this, and we are all human. I'm sorry to say, without being emotive about this thing, we are all human. And the thing and the beauty about the thing that we ought to focus upon is that, look, this is a country which in the past, even headache, no past president would have admitted that they had headache. But the president said, look, this is what the Constitution says. We're setting precedents, doing the right thing. You know that in the past we had a leader who had gone through some kind of medical tests, such of, you know, and they never really handed over power. Arising from that, our lawmakers looked at the Constitution and made some changes to the effect that there must be handover if a situation like this. For as long as the Constitution does not say that you must, that there is a timeline for this limit to time, for this leave to end, you cannot hold the president to this.
So we will wait until the lawmakers deem it fit again to amend the Constitution.
It is in their realm.
We don't think that it ought to be a thing of example, that, you know, President Buhari has a golden opportunity to show precisely...
To do what then?
To show precisely just what should happen in the event that a leader is ill. And, you know, even when the Constitution has not prescribed certain things that he should do, in the interest of morality and in the interest of...
morality
the people
from the point of view...
The people whose vote he sought, you know, at least in their interest in showing some people believe that, you know, it's also a matter of respect. That if the people are praying for him and praying that he will get better as they are, it's only a matter of also telling them, you know, that
those are the real Nigerians, the millions of Nigerians in all of their denominations, the churches and the mosques. They have accepted this and they are praying for him, and the president, God is answering their prayers, they are coming back. Look, all of this noise is coming from a band of less than 24 people who had, as I said, antecedents that are clearly known to us, and they will be dictating to the country what to do. Half a dozen or a dozen men out there in Eagle Square, majority of Nigerians are on the same page. They have given the president enough chance, and I assure you, what is ahead of us is far, the president will be soon back with us. And what we have, the patience that we have borne up to this point, has really paid off. And in a matter of, I don't know, but I can say weeks, days, we'll have our president back.
Well, perhaps as a signal of the amount of patience that, you know, people are running short of now. We also hear that ASU is going on strike. They have begun a, indefinite strike action? Because there was a warning strike, 1 week warning strike. They said they have been writing letters to the presidency, and they have received no response whatsoever, and it looks like they're not even being, taken into cognizance.
Let me say that I think it is a mistake to link the president's situation with the ASU strike. ASU had been on this thing for a long time.
I think, let me draw that connection properly. I wasn't talking about the president's health. I'm talking about the fact that quite a number of Nigerians are getting, disillusioned with the way the APC is running government.
Well, let me say this from my own understanding, that governments enter into agreements that they can pay for. And that even under international laws, that ability to pay is a key requirement in going into agreements. And very early on, when President Buhari assumed office, he had sent word out there, a warning to all of the government institutions. Please do not go into negotiations and agreements that you cannot pay for. Get due clearance. All of these things we are talking about, I understand they are talking about debts owed to their members of up to 880 billion naira. If I am correct, the entire appropriation for the Ministry of Education this year is 369 billion naira. So where are you going to get the money from? So I think that we have inherited these agreements, all right, and we are not running from them. But the government has set up a committee. It is totally untrue to say that they are not being talked to. And Babalakin committee has been set up by the Ministry of Education, and they are already sitting. Why don't you sit down and negotiate all of these things? My own sense is that this strike is totally unnecessary. Matters can be resolved, especially where there is a full understanding of where we are coming from. These agreements have been reached. The government that signed those agreements did not deem it to implement them because the capacity was not there. So somebody misled people, lied to them, signed agreements, and then they are imposing this hardship on us.
Some people would say that, even the Jonathan administration inherited that. That agreement was signed, I think, in 2009, and he had to deal with it in his own government. It was supposed to be renegotiated in 2012, then renegotiated again in 2015. So there has been room for renegotiation. The question is, how seriously has your government taken up that room for renegotiation? As the people are not unreasonable people.
As I speak to you now, our government has a committee headed by a Nigerian who is highly distinguished and capable and qualified to lead such a discussion. And I believe that if they are ready, they can sit down and discuss with us.
If indeed this committee was working and is doing its work as it should, why do you think ASU has resorted to a strike?
Maybe because they want all of these problems to go with the wave of the hand. They want nothing less than all of the answers to all of their problems at a go.
Are you being fair to ASU?
I'm not. I'm not a judge in this matter. I'm not qualified to be fair or unfair to them. But my point is that there's an avenue that the government has opened for dialogue with them, and it is not closed.
Well, we'll take a moment now. When we return, we will come back and wrap up this discussion. Just stay with us. Can hear you. Well, our closing moments now with Mr. Garba Shehu, who is Senior Special Assistant Media and Publicity to the President. Just quickly, if you had one word for the protesters in Abuja, because they have said that they are not going to let up until they get a concrete response from the presidency, or, the president either comes back or he resigns. What would you be saying to them?
I would say that really if they have work to do, they should just go home. Because, look, a majority of Nigerians, most Nigerians have a good understanding of the situation, and the government is fully appreciative of the fact that they have shown this understanding of why the president had to be away. But also the fact that the president had done the unprecedented, doing the right thing by following strictly what the Constitution says he should do and handing over power to the vice president. The government is running very well. We don't have any difficulties. All of the ministers put in place, all of the chieftains of the agencies of government put in place by President Buhari. Everyone is carrying on their own work. The thing then to do is let's focus on the big issues of the day. This country has enormous challenges, dealing with the mountains of corruption and the insecurity, all of this kidnapping and robbery and insurgency, and the fact that the economy, as they say, The economy is coming back now. Please don't upset the apple cart.
Well, we have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise Daily. Mr. Garba Shehu is the Senior Special Assistant Media and Publicity to the President. So that will be it from us here in Abuja. Thank you so much for watching. I hand you over now to Chimberlin and Gimba in Lagos.
Well, yes, indeed. We also do have time here for just one more thing. Well, while all this conversation about whether or not the president will return or not, look at how the dailies are reflecting how the president is speaking about this matters. This paper the other day did say, I won't resign, ascribing it to the president. Yes. But you know what? Some days after, or the next day, you then have this.
Comes up. Buhari vows to resign if he does not recover.
So what do you make of all of this? But you know, in spite of that, for the other group who are now protesting, there was also a word for them, and guess who is coming from?
What do we want? Resign. Our mumu don't do. Our mumu don't do. Cali boy, now your mumu not too much. You be mumu. You think say they wise? You are a mumu man.
That's the show today. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
And I'm Gimba Omar.